Hi, this is JD, and I am off screen because this right here is on screen. So I can't put two up, and I don't have a projector, so because the budget doesn't afford it. So anyways, this is what's called a factoring chart, and this is an overview on how to factor, because there's many ways to factor, and there's many different things to factor. Now keep in mind, whenever you can't factor, it's what's called prime. And you would just write prime, can't factor, etc. Now notice that the first step is always to find GCF. And GCF is, yes, greatest common factor. So that's what you want to do first. You always want to look for the GCF. Now next, step 2 is to identify the number of terms, because once you identify the number of terms, that's going to determine what you're going to do as far as factoring is concerned. So if you have 2 terms, guess what? Then you either do difference of squares. So you see if there's a difference and there's 2 squares involved, square minus a square. If you don't see that, then hopefully you got 2 cubes. And with cubes, notice that there's a difference of cubes and a sum of cubes, but there is no sum of squares. So once you identify that, you use the formula. So step 4, apply the shortcut or strategy of factoring. So in this case, once you have a difference of squares, you apply the difference of squares formula, the shortcut, which is a squared minus b squared, equals parentheses a minus b, a plus b. And then here's an example right here. If you get a difference of cubes, you apply the difference of cubes shortcut, which is a cubed minus b cubed equals parentheses a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. Now, to remember both a difference of cubes and sum of cubes, the setup is pretty much the same in both of them, both the shortcuts. Notice here you take the cube root of whatever your a cubed is, and you get that here. Take the cube root of b cubed, whatever that is, and you put that there. And then a squared, and then a times b, and then b squared. That's what that means. Now to remember the signs, because the signs, the coefficient, the numbers, the a's and the b's are the same for each. What you have to be careful over the signs. And the sign, a way to remember, is a cube of soap. So it's same, S, first letter in soap, O, which is second letter in soap, which is opposite. So it's same, opposite, and then always positive. And that's the same for each of these. Now, if you have 3 terms, that's an entirely different beast. There's many ways to factor trinomials. You want to select the way that is easier for you. Now, some methods, like X factor, for example, would not be able to you can't, with factoring, you have X factor A, the first term has to be 1. Trial and error, it's easier when it's A equals 1, much harder when A is something different. Fake factoring could be anything, and same thing with the AC method. The A does not have to equal 1. Alright, so what if you have 4 terms? Well, first you have to determine, okay, is it a difference of squares or is it not a difference of squares? This trips people up. This trips students up. You have a perfect square minus a square. And so that looks something like this. X squared minus 4x plus 4, where this is a square and then this right there is another square. Sometimes this is not easily identifiable. Now, it's also rare, so it's a good thing because it won't come up that much. Most of the time, what you'll see when you have 4 terms is you'll have to do factor by grouping. So you just apply factor by grouping. So that's pretty much it. That's a basic strategy on how to do factoring, because there's a lot of methods. And so let me surmise real quick. Let me give you a brief overview real quick to end this. First step always is find the GCF. See if there's a GCF. What will happen is if you find the GCF and take the GCF out, everything will be reduced. It will be smaller than before. Second step is to identify, okay, is there 2 terms, 3 terms, or 4 terms? Now, depending on the number of terms, that's going to be, you determine then specifically what do you have. With a trinomial, it doesn't matter. You just apply the strategies. When there's 2 terms, they're all special cases. Difference of squares, difference of cubes, and sum of cubes. And then you just apply the shortcut. When it's 4 terms, most of the time you're going to do factor by grouping. If not, what you have to do, which is rare, is a difference of squares, where it's a perfect square minus a square, or the opposite. So just keep that in mind when you have 4 terms. And that's pretty much it. If you want this PDF, what you can do is email me at jdmathguy@gmail.com, and just simply email me and I can send you the PDF. All right, that's it.